look, I know I've been gone for a while now, and maybe for too long actually. And I know I have been promising to make all these videos for you guys, and I never actually delivered on that. But hey, I'm only human after all, and I have real life problems. One of those problems is the fact that I need to survive every day, and the only way for me to do that is I need money in order to survive, so I have to work. Now, I did get a job a few months after looking, and I hate to tell you, but the job that I have is very demanding because I get an average of 3 hours of free time every single day, and I work 13 hours. Rest for about 6 hours, and during those 3 hours of free time, I do other things that are very important to me, such as running errands and stuff like that. So if you're wondering why I haven't been posting so much, well, there you have it. I have been very busy with work to the point where I don't even have enough time to do much content-wise. And I have been uploading gaming videos on my gaming channel, Game Therapy. But even on that channel, I only post like 3 videos. I've only posted like 3 videos in the last 3 or 4 months or something. It's not because I don't want to create content for you guys. It's just that I don't really have the time to do it. And the reason to that is quite simple. I need money. I mean, right now, creating content does not make me any money, and for that reason, I need a job. And since I have a job now, I barely have time to create content. Like, that's the problem that I have. I hardly focus on YouTube. Because I don't see the point most of the time. I mean, I love doing YouTube, but like I have to survive every day, and to do that I need money, which I don't get from YouTube right now. So that's why I barely make videos these days. I'm just busy all the time. The truth is I do have many video ideas. I do want to make videos, but I just don't have the incentive to do so. So I will tell you this. I have created a Patreon. So if you wish to support me in any way, please follow the link in the description below. There you will get content early before anyone else, and you get to make requests, as in request a video and I will do it for you. You will decide whether or not you want the video to stay on Patreon only, or if I should upload it on YouTube. So check out my Patreon, and yeah, maybe you'll find something that you like there. With that being said, I'm going to make videos now. I decided that I'm going to sacrifice a lot because it's going to be really hard. It's going to be really hard to make videos because I don't really have much time to do so, but I'm going to sacrifice a lot to make videos for you guys. And if I can get to the point where I can make at least $500 a month from content creation, then I can actually quit my job and focus on making content. But until then, you are probably going to get like 1 video every 2 weeks or something. But just know that you will only get a minimum of 2 videos a month. That is all I can manage for now. But moving on, let us talk about why we're here. The Flash TV show. If you have been watching my channel for the last 2 or 3 years now, then you know how I feel about the show. Like, I used to love the show, but now I just don't give a single fuck about it. I have even made rewrites for season 3 and 4, and most of you seem to love those rewrites. And no, season 5 rewrite is not coming. I don't have the time or energy to do it. The only way I will do it is if someone requests it on Patreon. I am not going to do a season 5 rewrite for any reason unless it's for Patreon. So in this video, I will go through all these seasons that I've watched. I've only watched up to season 5 and a little bit of season 6, but I've never seen season 7 and 8. So with all that being said, this is Don from Film Therapy. Welcome to today's video, and I hope you enjoy. Consider liking, subscribing, and that would be great. So let's get to this. Okay, I don't really have much to say about season 1. It was a pretty good season. Look, I know the concept of a speedster on its own is a pretty overpowered one, and with this kind of speed, Barry Allen should be able to stop many criminals pretty easily, to be honest. But the show does have a lot of inconsistencies. In the first season, there were a lot of inconsistencies and plot contrivances, but I did not have many problems with it because, to be honest, I could look past all that and just enjoy the show. The show was that good. And I do love season 1 of the show. I still love the plot, the villain, the characters. I just love the story overall. Seeing Barry grow from a guy who has no idea what he's doing to become a really, really great hero was kind of fulfilling for me. So I'm not really gonna say much about it. The villain was great. Reverse Flash was such a powerful antagonist. His dynamic with the characters was interesting, and he's a guy from the future who's stuck in the past after killing Barry's mother, and he created Team Flash. He created the Flash by giving Barry his speed, just so that he can use Barry to open a portal that he can use to take him to the future. So Eobard Thawne takes the identity of Harrison Wells to do this, and he actually connects with the team throughout this, which is something that he didn't expect to happen. So seeing him killing Cisco and actually hurt him because of it was really good. He had grown to love Barry Allen and the others, but he still hated the Flash. So yeah, he was such a great villain in my opinion, even though I just don't like the Reverse Flash as a character in the comics especially. I don't like him, sorry. So if Thawne was just a random guy who came out of nowhere and having no connection with the team, it would have hit differently. I mean, it wouldn't have been that bad, but he wouldn't have been such an effective villain, because the reason why he's such an effective villain is his connection to the team. He has grown to love the team. He has grown to be a part of the team, but he still couldn't bring himself to like the Flash. And he also couldn't just give up on his dream. So seeing him kill the people that he cared about and actually hurting from it was actually pretty good. The other characters were pretty good as well. Caitlin was my favorite character throughout the series, or the season. Cisco was the comic relief, and he wasn't my favorite, but he was always fun to watch. His relationship with Caitlin and Barry was kind of great. And Barry himself was a pretty good antagonist. His crush on Iris was kind of weird. I mean, they're basically brother and sister, so like, ew. Speaking of Iris, she wasn't bad. I mean, I didn't really care about her that much. I'm not really a sucker for romance in movies and TV shows, so I didn't really care much about her. She was just fine. Joe wasn't bad at all. He wasn't like a bad character, but I just didn't really care much about him. Same with Eddie and all the other characters that I didn't mention. They were not bad characters, but I just didn't care much about them. I only cared about the Flash. But some of the villains did annoy me, like Captain Cold. I do not like the character at all. Same with the guy who uses a fire gun. I don't like him. And I'm not a big fan of Firestorm. Like, I just don't like him in the comics either. I don't know why. I never really liked this character. So overall, the season was great. I loved it, and I have nothing much to complain about it. And season 2 is when things started getting weird for me. Okay, season 2 was not bad at all. It was just kind of a repeat of season 1, but with a different villain of the season, that being Zoom. Now, I personally loved Zoom better than Reverse Flash, and the reason to that is that Zoom was just a terrifying villain. His motivation is not really compelling. He just wants to be the fastest speedster for no reason, or no good reason at least. And to be honest, I did not care. I just love Zoom. His design was awesome, and his personality was just terrifying, at least until they revealed his identity. I'm one of those people who believe that Zoom's identity shouldn't have been revealed. He should have remained just Zoom with no human identity to him. Why? Because this guy was presented as a fucking demon entity. Like, seriously, just look at this shit, bro.
Can't lock up the darkness. What did you just say?
You can't lock up the darkness.
That does not scream human to me. That screams like demon to me. I think this made Zoom much more terrifying than him being just a man in a black suit. His design is good. Black suit with lightning just looks awesome. It just looks better than Barry's design in my opinion, and there is more that I like this season, not just Zoom. For example, I love the idea of the multiverse, and I think it was handled pretty well in my opinion. Seeing other versions of our favorite characters from Earth 2 was just great. And then there was Trajectory, who was my personal favorite speedster on the show. Even today, I still love Trajectory. I don't know why. Now, about the things that I did not like about season 2. There's plenty. First of all, I don't like the fact that season 2 is just a rehash of season 1. Like, that shit was a bit underwhelming for me. And a member of Team Flash is secretly a main villain of the season. It was nice the first time, great stuff, but if you do it again, it doesn't feel as entertaining as the first time, so like, why? And another thing I did not like is Iris. The character was just boring this season. Her and Barry being together was not something that I wanted to happen. I was actively against it. In fact, I loved Patty Spivot more than Iris. I almost forgot about her actually. She was an awesome character, but then she had to be written out of the show because of a filming schedule conflict. She had to film another show, and there was a scheduling conflict. I think, I'm not sure, but I did think that she was a better girlfriend for Barry Allen. I actually rooted for them. I do not like Barry and Iris being together. I did not want that to happen at all. And the other thing that I hated was the weekly villains. Like, the episodes are filler and they happen the exact same way. Like, Barry fights the villain, gets beat up, he gets a pep talk in a hallway, then he wins with some tech that Cisco makes for him. Like, that gets really old really quick. I cannot count how many times characters get pep talks in the fucking hallway. That shit was fucking annoying, bruh. And then, like, why did Barry give Zoom his speed? He's way faster than Zoom, and while he was safe, he could have just captured him this moment. Why did he give him his speed? I don't know. Like, so many bad things this season, but like I said, I still loved it season overall, but season 3 is when things started going downhill for me. Like, this is the worst season that I've ever watched of The Flash. And oh boy, we're gonna talk about it. Alright, look. I don't care what any of you say about this, alright? Season 3 of The Flash has got to be the worst season of the entire show, bruh. Like, seriously, this shit was fucking boring, my guy. Like, the whole time I just waited for something interesting to happen. And guess what? Nothing interesting happens the entire season. Season 2 ends with Barry Allen going back in time to save his mother from Eobard Thawne. For those of you who don't know, this is such an iconic storyline from the comics. It is called Flashpoint. Barry goes back in time and saves his mother from Eobard Thawne. Barry's mom stays alive, and therefore things that happened in the original timeline don't actually happen anymore because Barry's mom is actually alive. This is such an iconic story from the comics. Like, literally everybody will tell you that this story is fucking good. There's actually a movie about it where Bruce Wayne is actually not Batman and he's actually dead, but instead his father is Batman, and there's an actual war going on between Atlanteans and Amazonians. Like, it is such a great story. Like, when Barry went back in time in season 2 and saved his mom, everybody legit thought that they were going to do the Flashpoint storyline, and they actually did Flashpoint in the series in season 3, but guess what? It only lasted one episode. I will repeat. It only lasted one episode. Alright, look, it's not like I expected them to do an entire season of the Flashpoint Paradox storyline, alright? But everybody was looking forward to this shit, my guy. Like, this story is one of the most iconic stories, like I've said already, and everybody was looking forward to this. I remember waiting for the first episode of the season to air. I was so hyped, only for everything to be wrapped up in one episode. Like, that was such a letdown. It was also such a waste of a potentially good storyline. But hey, doing something stupid is not really new to The Flash. The writers of this show are just terrible, and you're about to find out why. In season 3, we're introduced to a new speedster villain called Savitar, who turned out to be Barry Allen from the future. Because why the fuck not? Now, there are a lot of people who try to explain this, but they fail miserably. Savitar's motivations don't make sense. Savitar's origins are fucking stupid. This guy wants to kill Iris so that he can become Savitar, even though he's already fucking Savitar. How the fuck does that even work? He's introduced as a very ridiculously fast speedster who just bodies Barry Allen and is fast enough to kill everyone in a blink of an eye, but he doesn't because plot. And this is so bad because he's introduced as a ridiculously fast speedster, but it doesn't make sense because there is absolutely no way that these heroes can just defeat him like that. So they end up having to make him much weaker so that the heroes can stand a chance against him, which is fucking stupid. In the middle of the season, we find out that Savitar is just a hallucination that is created by the Philosopher's Stone. So this Philosopher's Stone is giving speedsters a hallucination of Savitar. So Savitar is actually not there. But hold on just a second. How the fuck is Savitar able to touch them? If it's just a hallucination, how is he able to throw them around like they're fucking ragdolls? If it's just a hallucination, how's he able to carry them around? Now, you might say that these characters were just imagining things, they were seeing things that were not there, hence hallucinations. But no, absolutely not. We see Savitar grabbing the Flash and running around the city with him. Cisco even sees this on a monitor, showing Savitar running so fast that they don't even know how they're going to defeat this guy. But if you want to tell me that this is a hallucination, then you're basically telling me that Barry was running so fast that even the satellites of Star Labs could not track him, which is not actually true, because Barry Allen is not that fast at that point. So there's absolutely no way you can argue that it was Barry Allen hallucinating. It was actually Savitar carrying him around. So how the fuck is a hallucination able to carry Barry Allen around? And how the fuck is a hallucination able to scratch surfaces and touch everything else? How is a hallucination able to throw Kid Flash? This shit is fucking stupid. The worst part is that when this guy was introduced, he was so ridiculously fast. Cisco even thought that it was impossible for people to move that fast. But then he ends up getting killed with a gun. Yay. But Savitar is not the only villain in Season 3. We actually have a secondary villain, and that is Killer Frost. Yes, so when Barry went back in time to change the timeline, he did create Flashpoint, and then he tried to change things back to the way they were, but because he already changed the timeline once, things couldn't go back to the way they were originally. So some things were going to be different, and one of those things is the fact that instead of Caitlin going back to being human, she now has meta-human powers. She's now a meta-human. She's Killer Frost. Now, this is actually pretty good. It's not that bad, because the origin of Killer Frost in Season 3 is not bad at all. I don't have a problem with it. The problem I have with it is in Season 4, and I will talk about it when we get to Season 4. Just know that shit gets really weird for Caitlin Snow in Season 4. But that's not what I'm going to talk about right now. Right now, I want to talk about her impact in the story as a villain. Now, I never understood this whole thing of Caitlin becoming evil because of her powers. Why do her powers make her evil? That's never explained. Now, I agree that she would have made for a much better villain than Savitar. I've seen people saying that on forums and stuff like that. I agree that Caitlin Snow would have made it for a much better villain. The things that she said to Barry Allen when Barry Allen tried to save her from becoming Killer Frost, they actually made sense. Like, for example, Barry went back in time and changed the timeline, changing everybody's lives without thinking about how it's going to affect them. He was only thinking about himself, which was kind of selfish. And Killer Frost actually tells Barry that it's actually not Killer Frost, it's Caitlin Snow. He actually tells Barry that, and I loved that scene, because that's one of the things that I did in my Flash Season 4 rewrite. I think it was Season 4 rewrite. It's one of the things that I did with DeVoe in my Season 4 rewrite, where DeVoe shows Barry Allen that he's not actually the hero. He's more like a villain because he's kind of selfish and he only thinks about himself. That's what I wanted to happen. I wanted her to be the villain and show Barry Allen that he's not actually the hero, he's the villain. But obviously she was a secondary antagonist in the season, and we had to focus more on Savitar. But if you want to know what I think about Killer Frost this season, you have to you have to watch my Season 3 and Season 4 rewrites. I think it will make sense why I think she could have been a potentially good villain for Barry Allen, because he knows them. Remember that. It's not a he, she knows them. She knows everything about them. So that would make for a really good villain. Now, I know Savitar also knows them, blah blah blah, but like, it's Savitar, he was fucking boring, his motivations were stupid. I get it. But yeah, I really liked Killer Frost in this season, even though I didn't enjoy the fact that she wasn't the main villain. She was a secondary villain who was kind of working for Savitar for some reason, and I never understood why her powers made her evil. It just happens for some reason. But yeah, I didn't really mind her that much. The problem I have with her is in Season 4, because that's where shit gets really crazy. That's where shit gets stupid regarding Caitlin Snow. So for now, I'm not going to talk about it much. I'm going to talk about it much in the season 4 section. Now I want to talk about Iris, the damsel in distress. Iris is going to die. Well, in this season, she's supposed to die. So Savitar wants to kill her so that he can become Savitar. It's a time loop that I don't want to get into right now, and it's fucking stupid. But I just know that Savitar wants to kill Iris, and this is supposed to happen. I think it was in episode 20 or something. I don't know. So this was not a good story to follow because we know that Iris was never going to die. I don't know, man. It just didn't feel like a good story. Iris was never going to die. If you think that the writers were going to kill off Iris just like that, it was never going to happen, bruh. Everybody knew that. So that made for a terrible story because we had to watch a story where people try to avoid something from happening, even though we know that it's never going to happen. So like, what was the fucking point? Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail about Iris because I honestly don't really care about this character at all. And if you want to know how I think they should have treated her character, you're going to have to watch the season 3 rewrite, because that's where I explain a lot of things about her character and how she should have been handled. So with that being said, I'm done talking about Iris. And oh, I hate HR roles. I hate HR Wells. And I hate this thing that they do every fucking season where they bring in a new fucking Harrison Wells. It's fucking stupid. It's fucking annoying. Why do we need a different version of Wells every fucking season? It makes the fucking character fucking boring. At least in my opinion. Okay, look, I can go on all day talking about this season, but to be honest, I just don't want to. I get depressed just talking about the season because it was just that bad. Now, if you want to know what I really think should have happened in the season, like I said, you have to watch my season 3 rewrite. This is the season that made me want to do a rewrite for the show. And if you're wondering, it's my first video on YouTube, so I'm asking you to go and check it out. It would really help. It's my very first video on YouTube. It's called the Flash Season 3 Rewrite, and I think it's pretty good, and I think you'll enjoy it. So if you want to know my actual thoughts on Season 3 and how I think it should have been handled, please go and check out that video. I will link it in the description below. But with that being said, I'm just gonna move on to Season 4, and oh boy. Okay, look, I know this might be shocking to some of you, but I actually enjoyed Season 4. Yes, don't get me wrong, it wasn't all that good. It wasn't all that good at all. It's just that it was so much better than Season 3 that I actually enjoyed it enough to ignore all the terrible things about it. Now, if you expect me to go on and rant about the season, well, I'm not. I'm not gonna say much about it. This is probably going to be the shortest discussion of the season, and I'm not going to talk about it much. I'm going to talk about the things that I liked and things that I didn't like, and then we're just going to move on to Season 5, because Season 5 was the final nail in the coffin for me, and that's the one I want to talk about the most. So Season 4, the villain. Okay, let's talk about the villain. I enjoyed the villain to some extent. When he was introduced, I thought he was pretty good. Even though it was kind of cheesy, you know, him floating in on that stupid chair of his. Yeah, it was kind of cheesy, but I still enjoyed it anyways. And I think Neil Sandilands actually did a very good job as the Thinker. Now, there was this thing where he switched bodies. Like, he went on switching from body to body, and I had a problem with that because all those other different actors and actresses couldn't really deliver like the performance that Neil Sandilands delivered. So it was kind of off, but I did enjoy the character, I did enjoy the villain, I did enjoy the story mostly. And there was this episode that I really enjoyed. It was called Flash Time. That was one of the best episodes of the show, period. Even though I still have problems with it, but I'm not going to talk about it right now or ever. I really enjoyed this season. But yeah, that's pretty much all I can say about it, the good stuff. But there were some terrible stuff that I didn't like, for example, the inconsistencies in Barry's powers. One moment he's able to outrun a fucking bomb, and then the next moment he can't outrun a guy on a motorcycle, and then the next moment he can't like catch up to a woman walking away or running away like a normal human being with no super speed. So it was kind of annoying seeing Barry like being inconsistent with his speed. And to be honest, coming from season 3, I didn't really care much about The Flash anymore. I just watched it because, yeah, it was kind of a habit to me now. I just watched it out of a habit, and I didn't really care about all the terrible things in the season. And to be honest, the season did kind of get me a little bit more interested in The Flash again. Even though I didn't care much about it, I still took the time to watch it, and I did enjoy it to some extent. So that's pretty much all I'm gonna say about this season. I didn't really hate it as much as people do, quite honestly, and yeah, that's pretty much what I'm gonna say about it. Now I'm gonna talk about season 5, one of the worst seasons in my opinion. Alright, look, I love season 1. I like season 2. I hate season 3. I'm kind of indifferent about season 4. But season 5, I was just disappointed. Like, this season was a clear demonstration of how incompetent these writers can be. Characters do things that you would never expect them to do, which is totally out of character for them. And things just happen that don't make any sense at all. And the villain is kind of underwhelming. The heroes are doing the same shit they've been doing for the past 4 seasons or whatever the fuck. And there's this stupid annoying new character called fucking Nora. Look, the truth is, watching season 5, I just didn't care. I already said earlier that after season 3, I didn't care much about the show. I watched season 4 out of habit, and I watched season 5 out of habit. I just genuinely did not give a single fuck. I had no more fucks to give about the show, but I just watched it anyway. And it was kind of disappointing to watch, to be honest, because there were a lot of things that just didn't make sense. You know what? I'm just gonna get straight into it. I hate Nora. Seriously, I hate the character of Nora. It's not because she's a terrible character, it's just that she's so fucking annoying. Nora is the daughter of Barry and Iris from the future. According to her information that she gave us, she's like 20 years old or something. But she's always acting like a fucking 10-year-old. Always screaming and talking about how disappointing she thinks her parents are in her and how she wants to do this and that, but her parents won't let her, and how she's always so fucking forward all the time. Gosh, I hate this character. But the reason why I hate her is not because she's just annoying. There's more to that. The reason why I hate Nora even more is because the characters used Nora to ruin the other characters, especially Barry Allen and Iris West. I will explain. Nora comes from the future, so she comes back to the past to meet the Flash. Why? Because Barry Allen actually vanishes in the future. If you remember the newspaper that Harrison Wells from season 1 showed us, Barry Allen vanishes from the future during a crisis, so he actually doesn't come back 20 years later. So Nora grew up without her father, so she wanted to see her father and she went back in time to the present to see him. Okay, fine. But Nora gets help from Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash, because believe it, he's still in these later seasons. He's still alive for some reason, even though he was fucking erased from existence. So Eobard Thawne helps Nora come back to the present, but the team doesn't know that. There's this new Wells, I think his name is wait, is it Sherlock Wells or what? I fucking forgot. But I think it was Sherlock Wells. He investigates Nora and finds out that Nora is actually working with the Reverse Flash, and he tells the team. Now Barry, being Barry Allen, he doesn't trust the Reverse Flash. So what does he do? He sends Nora back to the future because he doesn't trust the Flash. No, the Reverse Flash. Fuck. So Barry doesn't trust Eobard Thawne, right? That makes sense. The guy killed his mom and tried to ruin his life. He doesn't trust him. Eobard Thawne is a fucking mastermind. He's always planning stuff and always thinking ahead. Sending Nora back to the present is not a coincidence. Obviously, Eobard Thawne has a plan, but they don't know what the plan is. The longer Nora is in the present, the more Eobard Thawne's plan is going to come to fruition. So he has to send her back to avoid Eobard Thawne's plan from going pretty well. That makes sense, right? But what happens? Iris, Barry Allen's wife, is mad at Barry Allen for sending their daughter back to the future, for not trusting the man who murdered his fucking mom and tried to kill them all in season 1 and season 2 even. Iris is mad at Barry for doing that, for not trusting that man, and she actually thinks they should trust them because maybe people change. Eobard Thawne is not the type of man who can change. That nigga tried to kill you in season 1 and he fucking killed Barry's mom, your fucking husband. He has proven time and time again that he cannot be fucking trusted, and you still want to trust this man and thinking that he can change. What the fuck is wrong with Iris? This cemented my hatred for the character of Iris. I never hated Iris and I never liked her either. I was always indifferent about her, but this scene just made me hate this character. I actively hate Iris West. I hate this character. I can talk about how much I hate this character for the whole day. I hate Iris West. Now, this is bad because Barry Allen ends up agreeing with her and bringing Nora back to the present, even though he doesn't trust Eobard Thawne, knowing that Eobard Thawne has a fucking plan and is fucking using his fucking daughter. So he decides to fucking trust him anyway, because why not? He's so fucking stupid in this season. I'm getting triggered, dude. What the fuck? But you know what pisses me off the most in this season? What pisses me off the most about this is the fact that in the end, Eobard Thawne ends up betraying them. Yes, he ends up betraying them. Turns out he was using Nora to get himself out of prison by getting rid of the device that they're going to use in the future to put him in prison in the first place. So yes, Eobard Thawne was actually betraying them the whole time. He was actually using Nora the whole time. And Nora gets erased from existence because of it. You know why? Because these characters are so fucking stupid. Barry Allen is so fucking stupid. Why the fuck would you trust a man who fucking killed your mom? This is so fucking stupid, bruh. These writers are fucking pathetic. What the fuck is wrong with these writers, bruh? What the fuck is wrong with these writers? You know what? I'm not even gonna talk about this anymore, bruh. I'm not gonna talk about this anymore. It was just stupid. It was stupid. The fact that Eobard Thawne keeps returning every season is annoying on its own. It was stupid. I hated the season. Now, Cicada was also a very underwhelming villain because, like, he didn't really pose much of a threat, to be honest. He didn't really pose much of a threat. And what I think is another good example of why these writers are pathetic is the fact that they had to nerf the entire team just so that Cicada can be a threatening villain. If you find yourself having to nerf your heroes, making them weaker, just so that your villain can seem more threatening, then you know that there's something wrong with your villain. Then you need a different villain. Now, the female Cicada, I think it was Grace from the future, she posed more of a threat, but still, it wasn't really enough for a season-long villain. I didn't really feel the threat from the Cicada characters. And I'm not really gonna say much about them because I didn't really care, to be honest. I'm just done talking about this show, bruh. What are you guys putting me through? But I'm just done talking about this show. Yeah, I don't like this season at all. I don't like this season. This was the final nail in the coffin for me. Like, ever since the season ended, I never really took the time to just sit down and watch the new seasons of The Flash. I stopped at season 5 and that was it. I just didn't care at all. I'm done with this show, bruh. Now you might be thinking that I was lying when I said I was done with the show. Truth is, I wasn't. Like, I don't watch the show anymore. I have seen bits of season 6 here and there. I have seen an entire episode of season 6. I don't know what episode that was. It was the episode where Iris from the mirror dimension dies. I think Eva, whatever the fuck, she comes out of the mirror dimension or whatever the fuck. That's the only episode of season 6 that I watched. I didn't watch anything else except for the crisis, or what? Yeah, the crisis I think it was a Crisis crossover. I think, yeah, I watched that, all of it. I watched all of it. I did enjoy it, but not most of it. I enjoyed bits of it here and there, but that's usually my take on every single crossover. I just enjoy a few moments here and there, but I never really enjoy the whole thing. So yeah, I didn't really watch season 6. I don't know what happens in season 7. I don't care. I don't think I will ever watch it. I know it's on season 8 right now, and yeah, I don't know what happens in season 8, to be honest. All I know is that Barry and Iris apparently have kids. I don't know. Yeah, you know what? I don't care, dude. I don't care. I don't want to talk about these latter seasons because I don't care what happens in them. I haven't watched those seasons. I don't think I'm gonna watch them. Season 5 was my last, and this video is already way too long, so I'm just gonna stop talking, bruh. So I just want to say, like, this is gonna be my final video on The Flash. Unless someone makes a Patreon request, this is going to be my final Flash video. I'm not going to make any other video about The Flash. This is the last one. This is the last one. So yeah, what used to be a great show was finally ruined by incompetent writers. Because of that, I'm not gonna be talking about The Flash anymore. This is the last video, like I've been saying, and with all that being said, I'm just gonna say, you know what? I'm done talking about this show, bruh. I will see you in my next video where I talk about my thoughts on Lucifer, and that video is gonna come out in about a week. So look forward to that video. Now, with all that being said, I just want to say thank you for watching this video. I am Don Haydens from Film Therapy, and it's good to be back. It's good to be back, and I promise to make more videos. I'm going to keep my promise this time. I'm going to make time for you guys. Please check out my Patreon. Check out my previous videos, especially my season 3 rewrite and my season 4 rewrite. I think you will enjoy them. So with that being said, thank you for watching. Don Haydens out. Bye.